Hello, my name is Katie MacDonald. I'm very excited to be joining the UVA faculty and also to be teaching the Fall Research Studio Operating Standards. Thanks so much for taking a look at the kind of framing and background of the course, and I look forward to seeing you on the first day. Consider for a moment the various productions of Charles and Ray Eames, a design team whose work is inseparable from both methods of material and technological production. Their designs required intensive material processing and invention, spawning the advent of machines to process material in new ways, the Kazam machine for prototyping molded plywood, for instance. And yet, a sharp contrast arises between the material and cultural assumptions of the Eames furniture and their architecture. The 1949 Case Study House No. 8 is a composition of sometimes novel, but already commercially available products. This technique of assemblage helped the house meet the requirements set by Arts and Architecture's Case Study House program for housing that was reproducible. Like the LCW on the left, the Eames House is born out of post-war production, but the role of the designer in authoring such material methods is wholly different. Invention versus specification. Architectural movements are birthed by the pairing of technology and culture. If the Industrial Revolution was primarily a technological revolution, it was necessarily also a cultural one. It fundamentally transformed daily functioning and societal expectations in the production of a developed world. Modernism, with its emergence at the end of the 19th century, becomes the physical and cultural incarnation of this new order. The relationship between modernism and standardized building products is made overt in the 1931 exhibition, The Dwelling of Our Time. The exhibition displayed full-scale prototype modern homes surrounded by a mezzanine of building materials and products. The rush of new materials during the 20th century appealed to designers who, through their development before, between, and in the aftermath of the two world wars, became accustomed to a heroic new machine aesthetic. It follows, then, that the heroes of iconic modernist houses are often their newly available industrial materials, entangling modernism with a standardized material world. By mid-century, post-war construction was shaped by ease, speed, and cheapness, in particular the ease, speed, and cheapness of the ubiquitous, humble 2x4. A 2x4 is essentially a dumbed-down tree, simplified performatively and environmentally so that it may be optimized for efficiency of labor. Changing ethics challenge the continued relevance of standardization. The linguistics of standard construction see rising interest in the stud-wall ellipses of Aaron Bessler, the SIP-panel dolmens of Anna Niemark, Lyda Aguirre's kit of parts architectures, the drywall choreography of Michelle Chang, and a recent work of my own addressing how one transports architecture. In these works, the material is the message. New developments such as computer visioning and machine learning make it possible to understand non-standard parts and simulate their performance in ways that approach the knowability of the 2x4. This opens up a whole range of possibilities that were previously not viable. An increasingly dire climate forecast has forced us to confront other modes of construction, ways that might be more renewable, less damaging, less resource intensive. We will look to models of procedural authorship, which include Fluxus art practices, as well as the art of artists such as Alan Wexler, who uses instructions in order to create order within complex systems. Daniel Eatock, who controls a kind of given set of tools and leaves other elements up to chance. We will edit standards, looking at the kind of dry representation of the architectural graphic standards and seeing how we can borrow, co-opt, and reinvent such tropes. Within the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, procedural process-based work will provide a model which allows projects to take shape remotely from their authors. We will create instructions to be performed by others. Our studio projects will build up in scale. We will begin by operating on conventions at a small scale, move up to the design of a pavilion, and finally translate our systems into the design of a building scale intervention. We will develop techniques of documenting and disseminating our work, engaging with both disciplinary and non-disciplinary audiences. This studio will allow us to operate on standards, transforming conventions to address new ethics in an evolving material world. Thanks so much for following along. I look forward to seeing you in studio.